Hello, everybody. It's Shocknado back at it again with another tier list for you today. And today we're going to be ranking superheroes in just honestly my opinion. But we will be using things like power scaling feats and just my own personal, preference on superheroes to be ranking this. But yeah, without further ado, and real quick, you might see some people that you're like, what the heck? Why the fuck are they on the fucking list, dude? Literally. But, obviously my hero in One Punch Man, there's shows about superheroes. But, Sonic, Aang, and these four right here, they are superheroes. They save the world, or they save their respective multiverses plenty of times. So, they get a spot on our list. Starting off, though, Superman, classic hero. Classic hero. You know what I mean? And he has countless feats. Countless feats. I can go on and on about Superman and his feats. But he is probably the superhero. Like, if you walk up to somebody and say, name a superhero who doesn't know much about comics, much about anything, or have a favorite superhero, I want to say 7 times out of 10, they're going to say Superman. He is not my favorite whatsoever. He's pretty far down the list, I can't lie. He's in the top 10, but pretty low on the top 10 scale. Just, he's not my favorite. But without being with with that being said, he definitely is still an A-class hero. For sure. For sure. It'd be disrespectful to put him anything lower than A tier. You know what I mean? Now we're moving on to Batman. You know what I mean? Batman is he's a different type of hero. He's a street level hero. He puts belt to ass plenty of times, but he and me, he and I should say, have many moral dilemmas compared to each other. I would have murdered, murdered fucking Joker if I had the chance, and he hasn't in any medium. I'm sure there was a comic series that I haven't read that he has, but I haven't. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge on Batman, but genuinely, he puts street level villains in the Arkham series on 1 HP. You know, drinking from straws in a full body cast. Why won't he do that to Joker? He literally gave Joker grace in the Arkham series, saved him when he was dying, which is crazy. But you know, Batman is another classic, and I want to put him B, but I'm gonna put him A. And we're ranking them just for clarity. We're ranking them on scale from hero to like how good of a hero are you? You know what I mean? Like not just your feats, not just your like how good of a hero are you? No explanation. Any medium of Spider-Man, no explanation. Barry Allen Flash. Nope, sorry. Barry Allen's down here. This is Wally West Flash, my preferred variant of Flash. I could have fit a few more variants, but I'm not just ranking Flash. you know, Out of all the DC superheroes there are, Flash is definitely my favorite. Sonic's my favorite character of all time, so I love speedsters. As you can imagine, Flash would be the favorite DC character. And he has a pure heart. He really does have a pure heart. So I'm going to shoot him up to S tier. And you got Dick Grayson. solid B tier. I would say Dick Grayson, Nightwing, solid B tier. Captain America is probably the embodiment of justice for the Marvel universe. He really is. And I'm just gonna put him right next to Batman and Superman in A tier. It'd be kind of disrespectful to place him anywhere else. He definitely has plot armor, but it is what it is. Johnny Storm is a solid B tier. Invisible-Woman, whatever you want to call her, I forget her name. Oh, you guys did not say that. Solid C tier. Reed Richards, he goes right next to her too. But if we want to talk about the Thing, the best Fantastic Four member, easily in my opinion. He has some of the best character arcs, in my opinion. Very, very emotional man. But, I just love the character. I genuinely love the character. And moving on to Thor, it's a B tier. You know what I mean? Like, in feats, he's crazy. Like, this is how much I like the character and how much they show they are a hero. And from what I've read and what I've seen, because I haven't read every comic book of all time, you know what I mean? But, these are solid characters. I want to see if I could put all of them in S tier. I would, but can't do that. It wouldn't be a tier list then. Barry Allen Flash, or we're gonna put Barry Allen at B. Or actually, we're gonna put him in A because the way he disappeared for Wally West to come into circle, very heroic. The way he disappeared. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna get into it because we still have a few more slots to get through. And we're running on 8 minutes already. Daredevil, out of all the street level superheroes that I have on this list, he is probably. I know a lot of people have Daredevil. There are a lot of Daredevil fans out there, but he's not my favorite. I'm just gonna throw him at B tier. And, I'm just gonna leave it at that. If I've read more Daredevil and Spider-Man comics than I've read solo Daredevil comics, so if that gives you an idea of how much I know about him, bingo bongo. But let's go on to Tony Stark. I think I'm gonna have to put Tony at B tier. You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about RDJ and his characterization of Iron Man, honestly S tier. But him throughout all comics, probably just B tier. Logan definitely gets an A tier from me. He is such a great character. You know, Plus he regenerates, and he just has so much aura, and he has a good heart, and he's just genuinely one of the best superheroes to be, written. Shazam is another great superhero comic. If you guys haven't, he's not a lot of people have read Shazam. If you're getting into comic books, I would recommend reading Shazam. And honestly, another one going straight into A tier is Black Panther. I feel like Black Panther is self-explanatory. T'Challa is such a great character. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Doctor Strange, honestly, C tier for me. He's cracked. Doctor Strange is cracked when it comes to all of that mumbo jumbo magic crap. But, you know, uh, He's going B tier. It's just he's not my favorite. He's not my favorite. Hulk though. Hulk's going B tier or C tier, sorry. He's had some moments with Spider-Man that, I really enjoy. But other than that, he's really not my favorite superhero whatsoever. Far from it actually. But like I said before anybody gets mad, because I'm putting a lot of people's favorite heroes down the, just straight dissing them. Um, it's just my opinion, and try not to take it to heart. I am going to do this real quick though. These two characters, some of the best characters ever written in fiction, superhero wise. They are incredible, and they just show the indomitable spirit of a human. And if a superhero can be relatable and show the indomitable spirit of a human, that is what I look for. You know what I mean? Like that's why Superman, all that, they're lower tier because they aren't as relatable as I would want them to be. If a superhero is relatable, then I'm gonna love them. You know what I mean? Uh, Ejiro Kirishima, I'm just gonna put him at a solid A tier. He is his scene with Fat Gum, one of the best scenes in the entire show. You know, had me standing up clapping. All Might, another S tier, the symbol of peace, the symbol of hope. He is great, a great superhero. And the two Todorokis get a solid A tier from me. Uh, I lied. I'm gonna talk about Endeavor real quick. Endeavor, as much as, he had a redemption arc, and I'm not just talking about him trying to connect with his family, but even in hero work, he tried to, or not tried, he was redeeming himself. You know what I mean? He was showing up, trying to interact with his fans and not be a dickhead, but in most of his career, he wasn't the best hero at times. He kind of just wanted to get to All Might's level, which isn't what a hero should be. Sonic the Hedgehog, he is he constantly is trying to save the world. No, he's not looking for trouble. He's kind of just trouble finds him. And no matter what, if him, his friends, or anybody is in danger, he doesn't even have to know the person. He's gonna reach out on a limb and try to save them. Now, Avatar Aang, quite literally, like, if you guys have you guys ever seen those thumbnails of what's it called, of the basketball thumbnails, where it's like someone trying to shoot full court and has like 99% with like a red arrow pointing at the pointing at the bucket. That's Aang trying to save the world from the Fire Nation right now, and he did it. He really did it. He gets a solid S tier for me. Like, as a hero, he saved the world, genuinely. Moving on to Deadpool. I love Deadpool. Deadpool is probably, if not Spider-Man, Deadpool would be my favorite Marvel character. But as a hero, I don't know. I want to put him in C tier, but he has plenty of heroic moments and character development in the movies, not only the movies, but the comics as well. So I am going to leave him at B tier. Sort of like Endeavor here. Nova. Buckethead, if you catch that reference, you know ball knowledge. One of the best TV shows of all time. But we got Buckethead right here. I don't know too much about Nova, but I do know that he's a great character from what I've seen. And I'm just gonna give him a solid B tier. I will give him a solid B tier. Now, Star-Lord, probably my second favorite Guardian, or let's say my third favorite Guardian. You know, he shows human spirit, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I really do appreciate that. Like, coming from a hero it's inspiring. It really is inspiring. And moving on to Rocket Raccoon and Groot, you know, their arcs in the movies are beautiful, and their comic series that they have together also just straight beautiful. You know, we will be moving them to S tier, but I'm just gonna leave that at that. This is Gamora, not She-Hulk, by the way. And Drax is gonna go right next to her. Drax is gonna go B tier. But I feel like these two don't need much explanation. You know, daughter of Thanos, that's not a bad thing, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get some hate for this one, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not the biggest Black Widow fan as well, but you know, she could sit right next to Hulk. Maybe calm this guy down. Same thing as I was saying with Avatar Aang, though. The entire world against him. The entirety of the Hidden Leaf Village was against him. And he just bossed the fuck up. Straight up bossed. And we're gonna put Goku at tier A. Now we're gonna probably speed through. I'm just gonna put Wonder Woman tier C or tier B. Silver, probably my least favorite Hedgehog. Tier C. Tier A for Shadow, because he's kind of like the Batman of the Sonic universe. So we're just going to do that. Moomin Rider. I've been wanting to talk about this man the entire episode. And he is, when I mention the indomitable spirit of humans, this is what I'm talking about. No matter what, you wake up and strive to do better. And strive to just help someone, no matter how hard the task ahead of you is, no matter how difficult the journey may be. It's Moomin Rider. S tier, easily. And Saitama is also going to go in S tier. S for Saitama. He is utterly cracked in every aspect. And he also has the indomitable spirit of a human. You know, his training arc. Well, granted, we don't see much of it, but his training arc in general just shows you that he has the indomitable spirit of a human. But yeah, I like this list. I genuinely like this list. I kind of wish I put people on the list that I hate so I could throw some F tiers around here. You know, let me know if you guys want me to rank anything in specific in the comments, but you know, this video is rolling around 20 minutes already, and I'm trying to shorten these tier list videos so they're not running too long. So I didn't want to chat about the certain characters too much. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, just leave them down in the comments. Otherwise, that is going to be all for me. You guys have a good one.